So while the defense did have a somewhat of a rational reason, it did not meet a legal reason.
You're not going to find anybody that's likely going to be Diddy's peer, because it's supposed to be a jury full of your peers.
What if the video you found changes everything? A maintenance worker reconnecting an old camera in a forgotten room stumbles across unsettling footage he was never meant to see. Diddy, a teenage girl named Ava, and a room that feels like the secret's hiding place. This video isn't just strange, it's terrifying. But the glitches in the file, they may reveal something even darker. Watch to uncover why this discovery has left everyone involved questioning reality itself. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great! Thank you so much. Now back to the video. It all started with Room 4C, a place most people didn't even know existed. Tucked away in a secluded corner of the building, the room had apparently been sealed off for years. When a maintenance worker was sent to reconnect an old analog camera system, it sounded like a straightforward job. He expected static, or maybe some outdated recordings from a long-abandoned surveillance line. What he didn't expect was a neatly labeled file sitting in the footage archives, waiting for him to press play. The label? A single name: Ava. With a mix of curiosity and confusion, the worker hit play. At first, the video was grainy, riddled with glitches and unexplained skips in the feed, typical of old tech. But as the image steadied, two figures emerged: Diddy, pacing the room with an agitated energy, and a young girl, Ava, sitting unnervingly still.
About how he treated people in his orbit as prosecutors seek to prove that he was running a criminal enterprise.
Diddy seemed distracted, his movements sharp and restless. Ava, on the other hand, didn't move at all. She sat in silence, her eyes locked on something just beyond the camera's view, as if she knew something the rest of the world didn't. The worker couldn't pinpoint why the video immediately felt so wrong, but the details began stacking up in his mind. Diddy's hand trembled as he ran it through his hair, muttering something inaudible to himself.
New Jersey with his girlfriend and his baby's mother. So there was some back and forth over that.
Ava never blinked. Her gaze was piercing, almost mechanical, and the longer he watched, the heavier the atmosphere seemed to get. There were skips in the footage, tiny gaps where the video jumped ahead a few seconds, but these breaks only added to the unease, as if someone had carefully cut out moments too disturbing to see. What made it even eerier were the subtle signs that the tape might have been tampered with. Experts say glitches and jumps in analog recordings don't always happen naturally. Sometimes they're deliberate, a crude way of hiding what's really on the tape. The worker couldn't shake the feeling that the file wasn't just sitting there to be found, it was planted.
For this particular trial, and he said that could not stand.
Aaron, the defense has made arguments that this is racially motivated.
You're not going to find anybody that's likely going to be Diddy's peer, because it's supposed to be a jury full of your peers.
By the end of the footage, the worker was sweating. He reported the file immediately, unknowingly sparking a real-life nightmare. But here's where it gets even stranger. Ava didn't seem to just exist in the video. Her presence was about to spill into the real world. The investigator didn't believe in ghosts or anything supernatural, not at first anyway, but that confidence cracked the moment they walked into their office one morning to find a sketch lying on their desk.
And the judge also said it would be inappropriate for him to consider race when making the decision.
The paper was old, like the kind used for courtroom doodles, and on it was a chillingly detailed drawing of the room they were standing in. Every detail was perfect. The desk, the window, even the exact angle their computer monitor usually sat at. But the creepiest part? Ava was in the picture, standing in the office corner, staring outward as if she'd been watching the investigator all along. Security footage from the building was immediately checked. How could this girl have entered one of the most secure locations in Brooklyn without leaving a trace?
So while the defense did have somewhat of a rational reason, it did not meet a legal reason.
MDC Brooklyn has layers of checkpoints, cameras, and guards. It's not the Waffle House. People don't just stroll in casually. Yet, here they were, with zero evidence of Ava, no swiping key cards, no caught footage, nothing. The staff quickly started whispering behind closed doors, throwing around suggestions. Some said maybe she was a ghost. Others speculated she was an incredibly skilled hacker. The investigator wasn't sure what to think, but paranoia began to creep in. Every movement that felt off, every flicker of shadows in the hallway made them feel like they were being followed. They even started keeping a baseball bat by their office chair just in case. Things didn't stop there. A high school student shared a bizarre encounter about Diddy's daughters acting strangely before prom. Apparently, Delilah, Diddy's other daughter, had started keeping a notebook filled with sketches. One of them looked suspiciously like Ava, standing in a courthouse hallway. But Delilah refused to explain how Ava came to be in her drawings or why she'd been so obsessed with sketching someone she'd supposedly never met.
Well, the one on the stand right now is just a summary witness. It's a paralegal from the U.S. Attorney's Office.
Then came the janitor's discovery in an actual courthouse, a dusty sketchbook buried behind cleaning supplies. Among the pages was a drawing of that janitor himself, sketched to perfection. The investigators began asking themselves a terrifying question. What if Ava wasn't even human? What if her appearances weren't physical at all? What if she was the evidence? Ava isn't just a person. She's something far stranger. A manifestation. A loop that traps anyone curious enough to look for her. Think about it. Every recording, every sketch, every glitch wasn't just evidence. It was Ava herself, pulling people deeper into her story.
Jersey, and the judge said that raised broader questions about his candor and whether he made a deliberate attempt to try and get himself seated.
Okay, they usually can pick jurors pretty quickly, in and out, and this is taking a very long time.
And the most terrifying part? Everyone who encounters her, even by accident, becomes part of the loop. It's no longer about escaping her, it's about avoiding being rewritten entirely. So, here's the question. If you stumbled on something like Ava, would you turn away? Or would the need to know consume you too? This isn't over. Ava's watching.